This is the demo for Lab 1. This will just give you a basic idea of what you need to accomplish. In the Canvas page for Lab 1, what you'll notice is there's a description of which problems you need to do and a basic procedure. The lab demo will help you with the details of that procedure. So we do need to recognize that this is a textbook problem, number 12 in section 1.3, which is on page 27. So I have my Pearson eText open. I also have StatCrunch open from my Stat Lab. The StatCrunch page, or the StatCrunch tab here, allows me to open the StatCrunch website, which looks like this, and I'm going to type or paste data into a blank data table, which would bring up another tab that looks like this. So in Lab 1, number 12 in section 1.3 requires that you generate 2 random uniform samples. And what we want to do is use in StatCrunch. We're going to use StatCrunch to create these data tables, and then what we'll do is use the main StatCrunch page to generate a report, which will be submitted for your grade. So in order to create random samples, in order to generate random samples, we go to Data, and we say Simulate, and we go down to Uniform, and it brings up a dialog box. Now, in this particular case, our sample size is 8, but as you probably know from working through some of the problems in the book, that even though the sample size is 8, when you generate random numbers, you sometimes get duplicates, which means we need to generate more random values than just 8 in case we have to throw out a duplicate. So what we're going to do is, since we need 8 values total, let's create 16 values. So each row will contain 1 value and each column will pertain to 1 sample. So we need 2 columns, that means 2 samples of 16 values each, and we'll use those 16 values to get our 8. Now, the parameters, what we need is a minimum and maximum. Now, in this particular list, if you look at the Pearson eText, number 12, we have values 1 through 44 that we need to choose from. So what we will do is set 1 as our minimum and 44 as our maximum. All of this will be the same except for rounding. We want to round to a specific number of decimal places, in other words 0. We want to round to 0 decimal places, which results in integer values. So now what we want to do is say compute. Now when we compute, you notice we get all these values. So for sample 1, we have 17, 28, 25, 1, 24, 42, 39, 31, and there are no duplicates in the first 8 values, so we'll use those 8. In the second sample, we have 20, 24, 18, 2, 25, 10, 36, 32, and again, no duplicates. I want you to notice, however, that down a little further in the list, we do see a duplicate. It doesn't affect our selection here, but if we had seen 25 twice in this list, we would have skipped it the second time we saw it. And so that's why we need extra values here. Now the last thing we're going to do with these data values right now is we're going to go back to the data menu and we're going to say save. You need to save the data in order to include it in your report. So we want to save the file as lab1, and we're going to call it 1.3.12, and that represents which lab and which problem it's for. The rest of this I don't ever change, just say save, and it'll be saved in your files. Now we have the data. We need to go back to the main StatCrunch page to create our report. The reports are here. I would like to create a new report. Now what I'm going to do is title this Lab 1. Now when you send this to me, it will be sent under your email address, so you don't need to put your name as part of the title. I will recognize that from the email, from the sender of the email. But we do want to make sure that it's shared, and we do want to allow comments. You don't have to worry about tags. In the body of the email, or in the body of the report, what you'll do is essentially write your answers to the questions. You'll notice that in 1.3 number 12a, we had to generate a sample of 8 people. So we generated a data sample of 8 values, but what we need to do here is write down the 8 list items that are specified by that random sample. So you would do that. You would do the same thing for part B. Again, it would be a separate list of which list items are specified by the random sample. And once you finish writing the body of your email, what you will do is attach the relevant results or data sets. Now in this case, we don't have results. We'll talk about that in a later lab, but we do have a data set that we can select. So if you notice here, I have Lab 1, 1.3.12, and I will select that. You notice I have a lot of other data here because I've done many other labs, but this is the one that I just generated for this demo. So here we have my data. Now what this does, when you send me a link to your report, I can actually see your active data file, and I can see exactly how you generated it and which values resulted. So I can see all of this as a live file, something that I can actually modify and work with to see how you did it. Now we're going to say save. Now the other thing we need to do in order for you to send me the lab, you need to go to Mail right up here at the top, and you need to email to kmcgowan@nmsu.edu. Subject is Lab 1. That's just fine. You can include a message if you like, and you should be sure to send a link only. That's very, very important. Send the link only. If you send the full text and attach graphics, it's not an active file. All I can see is a really annoying list of data in my email. So make sure that you send the link only, and I can go see your real report. And then you would send the mail, and it would pop up in my email. Now, if you go back to your reports, let's suppose you realized that you made a mistake. You go back to your report, and you can edit your report from here and then resend it if you like, or you can send it early and ask me if it's correct and then make corrections and resend it later, but you do have the ability to edit. And just up here at the top, you notice you have Home, Explore, My StatCrunch, Open StatCrunch. Home page, the Home StatCrunch page is not something that we use a whole lot. What we saw at the very beginning when we opened StatCrunch is actually the My StatCrunch page. And to go to a complete list of your reports, you want to go to My StatCrunch and see Reports. So this would be where all of your labs were. Now you notice I have some other labs here from other demos, but basically this Lab 1 here is what I just created. I can always click on that. I can edit, I can delete, I can mail it again, I can print it, which I'm not sure how that works, but I've never printed one, or you can share it on Twitter or Facebook if it's really cool. But basically mail and edit are the two that you're going to be interested in for the most part. So I hope that helps you, and if you have any other questions, please ask.